Hello, this is Rob with another gameplay by Clonehead. Today's episode is a Usurper Commander game. Usurper is a way for 5 players to play a bluffing game of hidden identities, similar to Werewolf or the Resistance. The 5 roles are randomly assigned at the beginning of the game: the King, the Guard, the Traitor, and the 2 Assassins. The King's identity is revealed before the game starts. The King goes first and wins by eliminating the Assassins and Traitor. The Guard wins by protecting the King. The Assassins win by killing the King, and the Traitor wins by executing everyone. I'm playing Rafiq. Ronnie is using Xenagos. Josh is on Horde of Notions. Chris is piloting Nekusar, and Tristan is leading Brago as, appropriately, the King. Turn 1, Brago plays a Preordain. Everyone else uneventfully plays a land and passes the turn. On his next turn, Brago plays a Grim Monolith, assuring a turn 3 commander. Nekusar's turn 2 yields a Preordain, 1 turn behind the King. Horde of Notions ramps turn 2 with a Farseek. Xenagos ultra ramps, playing a Sol Ring into a Kodama's Reach. And not wanting to be left out, Rafiq plays his own Sol Ring into an Explorer and drops a Mazavith for defense. Brago plays his commander turn 3 and gets ready for all the blinky goodness that's about to begin. Nekusar plays a very annoying and very necessary for the deck Underworld Dreams. Horde of Notions spends their next turn losing life from the Underworld Dreams and ramping with Sack Tribe Elder. Xenagos comes out to party on turn 3, almost assuring that someone's going to lose a lot of life on turn 4. Rafiq plays Bribery on turn 3, targeting Xenagos. Most expect the game to be over. Instead, Rafiq pulls out Oracle of Moldiah to simply ramp a little more. 'Cause why not? Brago casts a Mana Crypt and then an Archaeomancer to rebuy and cast the Preordain. Brago then randomly decides to attack Horde of Notions, which blinks all his non-land permanents and rebuys that Preordain for the second time. Nekusar then copy artifacts a Sol Ring to try and ramp into his commander, as he's been left behind on mana very quickly. Horde of Notions then plays their own Oracle of Moldiah into a Rampant Growth. I expect something big is coming next turn. Xenagos drops the dreaded Rurikthar, bane of all control decks, and targets it with Xenagos, turning it into a 12/12 Vigilant Reach with haste. Poor Nekusar takes the brunt of the attack for failure to play blockers. Rafiq then goes on the attack, casting Sword of Fire and Ice and taking 6, but well worth it as he attacks Xenagos for 4, kills Horde of Notions, Oracle of Moldiah, and draws a card. Brago is confused as to who is playing which role, who is his enemy, and who is his ally. So, holding a handful of non-creature spells not worth 6 damage apiece, as well as not knowing who to attack, he simply passes the turn. Nekusar hits the table, which usually speeds up the game considerably as players are drawing more cards and losing more life. Horde of Notions finally casts a high-impact spell with Maelstrom Wanderer. Unfortunately, they cascade into 2 non-creature spells, taking 12 damage to cast Mirari's Wake and Steam Augury. That may prove to be a fatal mistake. He then swings Maelstrom Wanderer at Xenagos, causer of damage. Speaking of which, Xenagos casts Thunderfoot Baloth, which pumps his team by 2, and itself is a 7/7, with Xenagos targeting it, is a 14/14 Trample Haste, which sends lethal damage back at Horde of Notions. Rafiq steps off the sidelines to give Oracle of Moldiah some double-striking assistance, which he sends at Nekusar, dealing 10 damage, drawing 2 cards, and killing the commander himself. He then casts Seedborn Muse, ensuring he'll always have open mana and blockers on opponents' turns. Brago takes damage off his Mana Crypt, while Rafiq uses Capsize Buyback and 6 life to take care of the Rurik problem. Brago casts his Preordain for the 3rd time this game to try and dig for more answers, which apparently he finds when he casts Treachery, stealing the Seedborn Muse. He attacks Nekusar with Brago, blinking his entire board state for full value, including the Preordain, yet again. Nekusar casts Sire of Insanity, which drives Rafiq mad and makes him Cyclonic Rift it back to his hand. Xenagos casts Green Sun Zenith with all his mana, which Rafiq mana drains. Thanks. Rafiq uses that mana to capsize Thunderfoot Baloth, equip Rafiq with the sword, and swing at Xenagos. Xenagos pleads with the king to help him out, so Brago uses Swords to Plowshares to remove Rafiq mid-combat. Rafiq casts Fact or Fiction in response, and targets Nekusar, who gives him all 5 cards. What a friend. Unfortunately, the Swords to Plowshares resolves, and Xenagos lives to fight one more day. Brago brainstorms at end of turn, taking 3 damage for card selection. On Brago's turn, he attacks Nekusar, blinking his board state again, and using Archaeomancer to rebuy Swords to Plowshares this time. Nekusar attempts to recast Sire of Insanity, but Brago remands it. Xenagos resolves a sneak attack, which becomes a big problem real fast for Rafiq, as Xenagos sneaks in Tyrant's Familiar, Rurikthar, and Thunderfoot Baloth to deal an incredible amount of damage in one turn. Rafiq retaliates by swinging at Xenagos, then casting Stoneforge Mystic for Batterskull, and casting Daxos Emeritus and equipping the Sword of Light and Shadow. On Brago's turn, he casts Body Double, copying Glenelendra Archmage. He then decides to swing everything at Nekusar and just allow Rafiq and Xenagos to murder each other. Which begins with Xenagos sneaking out Soul of the Harvest, Hellkite Charger, Spearbreaker Behemoth, and Nylea, which presents lethal against Rafiq. Rafiq proceeds to plead with the king, and it falls on deaf ears as the king watches with Swords of Plowshares and Path to Exile in hand. After eliminating Rafiq, Xenagos reveals that he was in fact the traitor, but due to his low life total and the king's ridiculous board state, he scoops. So at the end of the game, the roles were revealed to be Brago the king, Rafiq the guard, Xenagos the traitor, and the 2 assassins Horde of Notions and Nekusar. Today's MVP was Sneak Attack. Why pay full cost for creatures when you can just pay 1 red and murder people on the spot? Thank you for watching another Gameplays by Clonehead. This episode was Commander Usurpers, the game of political subterfuge. We hope to see you again next time, and may you always draw mana of the appropriate ratio.